Title: The Bride of the Altar, Part 1. Adan was a radiant soul in the heart of Umons, a small Nigerian village where faith was both a weapon and a shield. Her voice echoed through the tiny, sunlit church every Sunday morning, filling the pews with songs that lifted weary hearts. She was the epitome of devotion, her Bible worn with use, her knees callous from prayer. Adan believed her life was mapped out by God. She would marry a man of faith, raise children who feared the Lord, and continue her ministry of hope. But fate, or perhaps divine providence, had other plans. It began with a storm. The heavens cracked open one fateful night, unleashing torrents of rain that battered the village. The marketplace was deserted, and homes locked tight. But Adan, returning from an evening service, found herself stranded on the narrow, muddy road leading to her family's compound. The path was treacherous, and her sandals slipped with every step. "Who walks the stormy path alone?" a deep voice called out from the shadows. She froze. Emerging from the gloom was Odigu, the village traditional priest, a man shrouded in mystique and fear. His frame was tall and imposing, adorned with cowrie shells that glistened in the rain. He carried a staff crowned with feathers and charms, a symbol of his spiritual dominion. Adan trembled. She had heard stories of Odigu's power, the man who communed with ancestors, who read the stars and healed the sick. He was the guardian of traditions that her faith denounced as darkness. "I mean no harm," Odigu said, his voice a gentle rumble. "You'll be swept away if you continue. Come, I will take you to safety." Reluctantly, she followed. They arrived at his shrine, a sanctuary built amidst ancient trees. The air was thick with incense and mystery. Adan hesitated at the threshold, whispering a silent prayer. "Do not fear," Odigu said, his gaze penetrating yet kind. "Even light can dwell in places you do not expect." The storm raged through the night, and Adan observed him in silence. He wasn't the sinister figure her church had painted him to be. He offered her food and a place to rest, speaking little but exuding a quiet strength. By dawn, the skies cleared, and he walked her home, refusing her thanks. That encounter should have been the end, but it was the beginning. Weeks later, Adan found herself drawn to the outskirts of the village, where Odigu's shrine stood. It wasn't by choice, she told herself. A strange compulsion led her there. She needed answers, to understand why a man so feared radiated an aura she couldn't shake. Their conversations began cautiously, like ripples in a still pond. She spoke of Christ, of salvation and grace. He listened, his eyes thoughtful. In return, he shared tales of ancestors, of wisdom handed down through generations. They debated fiercely but respectfully, their words weaving a tapestry of faith and tradition. And then came the dream. Adan woke one night, drenched in sweat. In her vision, she stood before an altar, its surface covered in both a Bible and sacred cowries. Two paths stretched before her, one bathed in blinding light, the other shrouded in an enigmatic glow. A voice, deep and resonant, whispered, "The path to purpose is not always the path you expect." The village buzzed with rumors when Odigu declared his intention to marry. Tradition demanded that a priest bride must come from within the community, someone with pure lineage and unyielding faith in the gods. What shocked everyone was his choice, Adan, the pastor's daughter. The church erupted in outrage. Elders called meetings, prayers were organized to deliver Adan from what they deemed a spiritual attack. Her family wept, begged, and threatened. But Adan stood firm. "I have prayed," she said one evening, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. "God's ways are not our ways. I believe this is my path." The day of the wedding arrived, a collision of two worlds. The church and the shrine, both symbols of conviction, bore witness to an event neither could claim fully as their own. Adan, clad in a white dress adorned with traditional beads, walked toward Odegu, who waited at the foot of the village's sacred tree. As their hands met, a sudden gust of wind swept through the gathering. Some called it the ancestors' blessing, others claimed it was the Holy Spirit. For Adan and Odegu, it was a sign that their union was not just a marriage but a bridge between two realms. But every bridge faces storms. To be continued.